Folks, welcome to our podcast, Below the Belt. We are so privileged to have each and every one of you here with us. And we hope that you guys are great wherever you are joining us from. Again, we are privileged to have each and every one of you guys. And as you join the podcast, why don't you let us know how you're receiving the audio where you are? We don't want it to be too, we want it to be just right for you guys. Wherever you are joining our international podcast, Below the Belt, again, we are privileged to have each and every one of you. Some folks have come on very early. Vashti Magnot and Carol Carter, Beatrice Selby, and folks are joining us on Twitter. Folks are joining us on YouTube. Folks are also joining us. As you know, we in the ghetto. We in the ghetto, folks. Facebook, the Blue app, the other Meta app. Because now you got Instagram is Meta. You got Facebook is Meta. You got WhatsApp is Meta. All of them are part of the Meta family. So we can't say the Meta app Facebook alone because they got many other Meta apps out there, as you know. But that being said, folks, good to see Vashti Magnot. Good to see Beatrice Selby. Carol Carter says she's waiting. Guys, again, it's a privilege to have each and every one of you guys. We know there's so much happening on social media. There is so much happening out there that you guys got your pick of what you can be spending. You have your pick on what you can be spending your time on. And we are privileged as at this end that you guys make our program your place of choice, our programs your place of choice, whether it is here below the belt or it's in the ring, or whether it's what's happening on our website, credible sources. We are so privileged that you guys, really absorb the content in the way that you do. And it gives us the fortitude, it gives us the energy to go out there and keep on doing what we are doing. I am privileged to have joining me today in the ring for our discussion. He's going to be on shortly. The new chairman of the PNCR, member of Parliament, Sherwin Holder. He's going to be on shortly, folks. So let's be a little patient. And we're discussing today how wicked, stink, and dirty the PPP really is. We're going to be discussing some economic issues, health issues, public security, even these woes of the PPP, economic health and public security, woes of the PPP, folks, because they're wicked, stink, and dirty. And we're going to have our brother with us very, very shortly. But you know how we usually start the program talking about what's happening wherever we are today. Folks, we have covered yesterday during lunch the story of this couple on the East Bank of Demerara who it was suspected would have been murdered. MP, could you just mute your mic at your end for us? And we're gonna have you just in a short while. We don't want to necessarily hear your secrets on the other side. I don't mind hearing them, but I don't mind hearing them, but the public might be shocked. That being said, guys, we are learning now that that may have been a suicide. That young newly married couple there. And so our thoughts and prayers are with the family who would have lost two family members, their friends and family, their community that love them. Our thoughts and prayers. And, at my church, First Assembly of God, we lost a pastor this morning, Pastor Jackman. Pastor Raphael Jackman there out of First Assembly of God in Wortmanville. And, so many emotions coursed through me as I heard that bit of information this morning. And, in it all, in and through it all, I just know that, the good book says that God has been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, and ever did he form the earth from everlasting to everlasting. He is God. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the entire Jackman family there out of First Assembly. We've lost a pastor there this morning. Our thoughts and prayers again are with his family and the entire community there in Queenstown, the First Assembly community as well. Our thoughts and prayers go with them. Mr. Chairman, we can still hear you at our end. We're going to have you in just a short while. So just mute your mic at your end for us. Folks, the weather at my end, that being said, the weather at my end, it's 29 degrees outside. Fantastic weather. I took a long drive to Linden this morning and back. Picturesque, beautiful. Well, you guys know the foliage turn from Linden. Linden is buzzing with activity. Had a lovely pepper pot breakfast, and it's still to my throat, so I'm not eager for lunch as yet. Delicious pepper pot at that fantastic place at the Four Corner Junction there. I can't remember the name of the establishment, but the staff were so kind and so generous this morning. So breakfast is still weighing heavy on my stomach right now. The beautiful, delicious pepper pot, and I had pepper pot with bake. I trust that whatever you guys are finding for lunch is going to be sumptuous and it's going to be very, very rewarding to your bodies health wise. 29 degrees weather outside, folks, and they're telling us that there's an 11% chance of rain this afternoon. There's an 11% chance of rain this afternoon, guys. Those things being said, I wonder, I seem to have lost Sherwin there, so I'm going to try to get him back on the line. MP Sherwin Holder, again, it's our privilege to have you. How are you doing, MP?
Hi, Sherrod. Thanks for having me on your program. I'm doing fine.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I am happy that you're doing fine. And we were privileged to have you in the ring last evening. Really privileged to have you. And we wanted to have you back to kind of tease out of you some of the issues of the day. Firstly, Sharon, for those persons who may not have had the chance to join the program last night, just tell us in passing, how has the portfolio thus far, the post of being chairman of the PNCR been? How is that going? How is that? How is it started out?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sherrod. I'm getting a little feedback, Sherrod.
You're getting a little feedback. I don't.
Yes, I'm getting some feedback.
Let me see if we can rectify that. Let me see, folks. If you're receiving that feedback on the outside, let us know, and we're going to try to correct that. Are you guys hearing that as well? We want the stream crisp for you guys. Go right ahead, MP. Let me see if that may have solved it.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Sherrod. Um, it's going well right now. We're now having our first sets of meetings as an executive to develop, policy positions. Um, Currently, as I said last night, the new leader has taken a democratic approach and an inclusive one. We're looking to bring into the group a number of persons with the requisite skills who would have campaigned also for similar positions. So now those elections are over, and we have to unite the party. So that is our first goal at this time: unite the party and develop our policy positions. That is internally. uh, at the same time, we have to deal with all that is happening externally, all the atrocities that has been going on from day to day. Every day you get something to deal with regards to this government. Today it's COVID. You know, that is one of the big issues. In the last 24 hours, we had about 500 new cases.
Yep,
I believe that's a
485 to
record.
be precise. 485 to be precise, but that is a big number. Big number.
That's a big number, a big number. And, so we have those incompetents to deal with. We have the NRF bill that was um, tuggishly pushed through the parliament illegally, and we have to certainly take actions on that, and so many other issues with regards to the mismanagement and of this administration. So we have our hands full. Myself as chairman, as I said last night, it's big shoes to fill. Valda Lawrence being the previous chairman, and but I believe that we have a good team, a good blend of experience and youth, and I can see um, a room full of leaders, a room full of leaders and a reinvigorated party. There are a number of persons who would have stepped away from the PNC that are now coming in, pouring in, offering support, whether it's finance, whether, what in whatever way they can support. So I think we're off to a very good start in terms of the PNC political party.
Fantastic, fantastic. MP Sherwin Holder, chairman of the PNCR. Just hold a sec for me. It seems as though we didn't go through to one of our channels. So I want to do so now and bring in those folks who are joining us on another Facebook page. We want to say to them, welcome to our podcast, Below the Belt. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those persons who are now joining us via the Sherrod Avery Duncan page, again, welcome to our podcast, Below the Belt. We started some 10 minutes ago, but in some error on our part, we did not go through to all of the pages. And so we are saying again to those persons who are now joining us, welcome to the podcast, our international podcast, Below the Belt. Guys, as we join the discussion, we only ask that you share the live stream, and we want to see those emojis as well. MP Sherwin Holder, who is the new chairman of the PNCR, just told us about this new experience and how that is going. And in that introduction, as it were, MP talked about where we are economically, where we are via COVID-19, and I want to underscore some of that. So for those persons who are now picking us up, we were on live for 10 minutes on some other pages, but then we realized that we weren't on in some other places, and we want to correct that. So those of you who now joining us again, kindly share the live stream for us, and we want to see those emojis as well, guys. MP, just yesterday and the day before that, we saw that bread prices continue to rise. I don't want to get too wonky on our listening audience in terms of where the economy is, but we got one phrase at this side, on this end, things tight. And the fact that bread is going up again tells us where we are economically. Not so? MP Hola.
Sherrod, it certainly tells us where we are as a country and as a people, and it's sad that with the coming of oil and all the nice things that could be said and that were said about Guyana being the fastest growing economy and one on the Dubai of the Caribbean, you know, Guyanese people are now um, seeing something totally opposite. It's as if the oil course is already here upon us. I'll say one thing to you, Sherrod. PPP has no interest in elevating the lives of the poor. I think that is the reality that is hitting home to so many Guyanese across the length and breadth of this country. What they're doing and what they're really interested in is to enrich themselves, a small group of family and friends, their cronies, and that is what is actually playing out. Um, their strategy, their economic strategy is totally wrong. This idea of just giving handouts, the little cash grants and the hampers, it's certainly not working for the poor people of this country.
Exactly.
And
Right
and
ahead.
what I would say is that most Guyanese at this time here in 2022 feel that they're worse off than, let's say, 5 years ago. They honestly believe that they're worse off than they were 5 years ago, and so it's a very disheartening situation to know that we have a huge oil industry, bigger than any other industry that we have in Guyana. And this is the state of affairs of our country at this time under this PPP government.
Tremendously, tremendously sad. You know what, MP Holder, a number of sweeper cleaners, a number of employees at the Palms there on Brick Dam, a number of employees elsewhere reached out to us and they said that this 7%, this appalling 7% as it is, they did not receive it. They did not receive it. And a lot of government employees, a lot of public servants are very, very upset at the selective way in which, even in this hard guava season, these COVID times,
Sh-
the government has just
Sharon,
been doling out monies to
I,
just a few.
I, I totally agree with you. I was approached by a security guard just yesterday while I was doing some shopping in the street. And what she said to me is the same thing that you're saying. She has not received that 7%. And she and many others, and they have been complaining. They went to Georgetown. They spoke with one facade, who is the police, or the the officer in charge of finance, and they have no answers to give to these people. The persons working with the reserve also have not received any increase. They have not received their retroactive. And to my mind, this is a blatant um, example of discrimination. It is an example of discrimination. They don't have any answers to provide to these people. It's just that you don't get your money, and okay, you have to live with that. Whenever, in one case, they said the president did not sign whatever documents that these persons can be paid. That is the excuse. So I don't know what the president has to say for himself or to the people, to these poor people. That officer said to me, she told Mr. Passad, she said, you got your increase, sir, and you were able to put groceries and all the goodies on your table during the Christmas. What happened to us poor people, the lower class people? But again, I want to re-emphasize my point that this PPP government is discriminatory in nature, and they don't have the poor and vulnerable people of this country at heart.
Exactly, exactly. And if it was just in one sector, that would have been one issue. But it's across the gamut. You have all of these issues that are percolating just below the surface, and people are upset, and people have a right to be upset, and people are angry at this installed regime. Look, I'm just looking at Starbucks News here, and Starbucks News is reporting on this fifth day of January. There are 800, almost 800. Let me say it how they have it here. Almost 800 confirmed cases of COVID-19, 788 to be precise. And just a short while ago, Frank Anthony, the installed Minister of Health, was trying to tell this nation that we've turned the corner on COVID. And you had, for instance, I saw a prominent attorney writing in the paper, so Wayne, Frank Anthony singing his praises for handling COVID-19 properly. Where are we currently? 788 new cases of COVID-19 in one day. So their COVID governance, as the
I,
international
I,
community recognizes it, is tremendously poor, Mr. Chairman.
yeah, exactly. Somebody just brought it to my attention a few minutes ago, and you had two deaths, I believe, also. Now it is very clear that let me say this from the inset: Frank should resign. Frank should
Agreed.
resign as the Minister of of Health. Um, if you look at his track record over the last year, if you look at Frank's track record, it is quite clear that he is incompetent and he does not have what it takes to run that ministry. I don't know who is advising Frank. Frank has Leslie Ramsamy advising him. He has Barry Ransaran, both of them former ministers. Where are we going?
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
the APNU AFC came to power, over 5 months there were only 21 cases. Now, one would have thought one would have thought that with this abundance of oil money, they would have taken some of that money very early to do one, bring in a good batch of World Health um, Organization recognized vaccines that are recognized by the World Health Organization. I think that was one of the first steps they should have taken. So all Guyanese could have had access to WHO approved vaccines. So in that case, you could have encouraged more and more persons to get vaccinated. And two, I thought at this time they could have used some of the oil money to establish testing sites, all free testing sites all across the country. Instead, you have a situation developing in schools and other places where they're trying to bully people to continue to function as per normal, while COVID is on a rampage through these organizations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I read an article on social media just this morning where it is the claim that the education, the CEO Hudson, Marcel Hudson, where he went into to one of those schools and berated those teachers and forced them to continue to work as if nothing happened, while in fact you had a clear case of COVID, a female teacher contracting COVID there. But this is the PPP. This is the PPP, and
Same old
I think the
PPP.
Guyanese are looking, and they're making their conclusion.
And you know what is sad? Not only is COVID now very prevalent in our school system, and we pointed out in at Bishop's, the Bishop's High School, they were very, very adamant that some of their teachers and students have come down with COVID 19. And we saw some other schools in the country as well. People keep sending me messages that in lots of schools where they have returned to face learning, COVID is running a rampage. But right at the Ministry of Education at 21 Brickdam, we learned yesterday that staff members in the accounting department came down as COVID positive. And what is shocking is that even though those staff members would have been interacting with other members of the ministry, only that department was fumigated and those persons were sent home until further notice. Only that department and staff members called us very, very worried about their health.
It is shocking obtaining right now in this country under Frank Anthony and this PPP administration. If they can't protect themselves. If you can't protect your own ministry, how are you going to protect the lives of people's children that you're putting back into school? And again, our thought as a coalition is that you could have used some of these monies that you're tossing around aimlessly
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
put proper IT systems in place so that you can have real-time learning on Zoom. And Sherrod, we're have we're having in this age and time, in this COVID time, the world has evolved. We are now having all sorts of important meetings on Zoom. Presidents and prime ministers all across the world are holding conferences on Zoom. You're telling me that we can't teach and have real time teaching on Zoom? You know, it's very very disappointing, and it's very clear that this government um, is showing they're showing gross incompetence and their inability to manage this country and to manage COVID. I dare say that the Up2 AFC coalition did a way better job with limited resources during an election crisis and all that was happening at that time. We did a better job at protecting our people. The PPP are now operating in a callous and uncaring manner, and
Dictatorial.
all they're thinking about, in my opinion, is oil money. That is the only thing that is on their minds right now. Corruption and oil money. That is the only thing that is on their mind.
Yep. And you know what? We are in even more troubled waters. We are in even more troubled waters, folks, because today we are made to understand that there was a new strain of COVID 19 that was discovered in France. And I just want to make sure that I have that right. They're saying that a new case of COVID 19 was discovered. I want to make sure I'm getting the location right. Was
Yes, I
discovered.
believe it's France.
Was this
IHU.
Yes, all right, that new COVID. And if we barely got out of the Delta, Omicron on us, now we're dealing with this new one. Folks, we're in for a rough ride on the day's Jagabats. That being said, we look out there again, poor economic management, poor COVID governance. And then the other area of tremendous concern to a lot of people is old house on old house in this country, old house on old house. The security problems, crime running rampant for lots of reasons. And one of the chief reasons is poor leadership at the helm. Robeson doing nothing. Robeson being the installed minister of Home Affairs, in doing one thing, they promise a crime plan. And all Irfan come out to do the other day in a press conference, catfish, is to tell us how much crime we got. They ain't doing themselves any service here at all where crime is concerned. As just one of the major things really and truly affecting Guyanese people, crime. A lot of persons from the diaspora, MP Sherwin Holder, chairman of PNCR, lots of people from the diaspora listen to us. And they can tell you when they come home here, the sense that they have, oh my God, there is so much fear that they get robbed. You understand me? Somebody going to break in the place where they stay in. Something bad is going to happen. And you know what? In quite a few instances, they have been absolutely right. In quite a few instances.
I would agree with you, Sherrod. Crime is another area that the PPP does not seem to have a handle on. I mean, after 1 year um, and spending hundreds of millions of dollars, you would recall in the parliament several times they went back, they even went back for more monies, and they told us that these were the solutions to the crime, to solving crime in the country and to eradicating crime and reducing crime. But here we are in 2022, we are no better. The minister they were posting pictures of how many vehicles they purchased. And but I keep saying one thing. I keep saying one thing. You can buy the best vehicle, you can give them all the guns that they want. That would solve crime. One of the first things that the police has to establish is public confidence. Confidence in the police force, a relationship with the populace. And that is what is lacking. People don't have confidence in the police force. How do you establish confidence in the police force? Confidence will not be established if you have a president that is railroading the force, that is removing the guardrails in the police force, that is dismantling, that sets out to dismantle the organizations like the Police Service Commission, remove them when they refuse to promote crooked cops that the PPP administration wants at the helm. They created this problem, and effectively or essentially, it will lead to a demoralized police force, and that obviously will lead to more crime in the country.
Yep. And the scandals in the Guyana police force, the ineptitude, the incompetence is staggering under the PPP. And we dare say, for those of you who are now joining the podcast, that they are good folks also in the Guyana police force. You got some professionals there struggling, but there nonetheless. For those of you who are now joining us, you are in tune with the podcast, Below the Belt with yours truly, Sherrod Duncan, and I have with me new chairman of the PNCR, member of Parliament, Sherwin Holder, and we're discussing the economic health and public security woes of the PPP. Folks, it's getting worse as the day go by. It ain't getting better. It is getting worse. They promised us a crime plan, MP Holder. Whatever happened to that? Coming soon. Wherever happened to that? Coming soon. And we know about high risk Saturday. High risks. Airford himself told us Saturdays in this country, according to them, is when most crimes are committed. So people fearful now. People are going
Okay,
out Saturday at all.
we Sharon, we're over a year in this PPP administration, and there's yet to they've yet to put in place any plan, much as a crime plan. You know, for you to put a proper crime plan in place, you must involve the populace. You must involve civil society, and that is something that is lacking in the PUP administration. They are a very secretive government. They don't want oversight. They don't want transparency and accountability. And so it is very, very difficult for them to put any proper system in place that will be efficient and effective and in the best interest of all of the Guyanese people. So until they change this style of governance, until they change this approach towards managing the affairs of the police force and managing the affairs of the country, things will not get better.
And folks are watching that. And folks are understanding that. And folks are tired. Folks are extremely tired. And guys, you know, especially those of us who are on the ground here in Guyana, it is not just economic issues, it's not just health issues, it's not just public security issues. We've limited our discussion to that. But it also goes to, for instance, issues of infrastructure. You know, it also goes to other sectors, agriculture. Oh my God. We have become a hamper nation. And I say that without apologies. We have become a hamper nation. The fishermen in the agriculture sector were telling the government just the other day that the fish yield is very, very low because of what Exxon is doing. Since the people come in, the fish aren't biting the hooks anymore. They're not finding the nets. The fish run away. Since the PPP come, you know what is their
Yeah.
answer to that? Any deep thinking policy? No, 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 no. Hamper in the chest. There was an issue where women were abused, and the ministry, rightfully, social protection now, social services, was looking into those issues. You know what is the answer to that? Abuse women, hamper your skin. 2 pint black eyed peas, half pint oil, and a pound of sugar. Hamper your skin. Soon as your head hot
Sharon,
you, is hamper. We have become a hamper nation. They have turned us into mendicants and beggars.
Sharon, indeed, indeed. And that is why they want to get their tentacles on this oil money. They would have borrowed, and you would recall me saying this very early in, I believe, the 2020 budget, that they're essentially borrowing or spending this money without, um, removing it from the account because they have borrowed to date. They have borrowed more than double the amount of money that is in the account there with regards to oil. And now I believe that they are finding it very difficult to borrow any more money. And so they need to free up that account to get more money. So hence they push through this bill without any consultation, any input from civil society, because they need this money. They are doing poorly in every sector, almost every sector of governance. They are doing extremely poorly with, and especially in the economy. People are under tremendous pressure over the last year since PUP came to office. And so their solution is to throw around hampers around the place. And if you can do a little cash grant in a very discriminatory manner, then that is the icing on the cake. That is the policy of this new administration. There is no deep thought. There is no thought about the macroeconomics. There is no thought about anything whatsoever. And just last week during the Christmas season here in Region 2,
you had a secret, I'm told a little secret sharing out of little grants at the state house, and you only had to say that you're affiliated with the PPP or look like somebody affiliated with the PPP, and you got a $50,000. Or when you go back to your home and you try to manage that $50,000 to deal with your kids and everything, and your bills and everything in your home, then it is not a significant amount, and it will only carry you maybe for a few days, and then you're straight back to square one. You know, and that's my problem with this concept of just sharing out hampers and sharing out cash grants without putting any real thought to it and any real objective. The objective here is to just to ease some pressure off of their backs and to attempt to buy votes. That is how I see it. But it will not work. People are seeing beyond that. People feel that they were better off during the last 5 years. And I'm happy you mentioned somewhere earlier, you mentioned the sweeper cleaners complaining. Those sweeper cleaners got, you would recall, $37,000 in 2015. And we moved it to about $70,000 within a few years. Within 2 to 3 years, we moved that to $70,000, Sarah. So people lives were better. They were on the road to a good life. But now $70,000, with the current inflation rate and the current state of the economy, it can't do much. We've regressed so much, and so you know we I wanted to hit home this point. It is our hope. It is our hope in the PNC and in the coalition that this government would seriously look at increasing the wages and salaries of our public servants to at least 25%, at least 25% minimum in the year 2022. I just saw another two discovery of oil, and I saw the Minister Barrett saying more
I
oil
was coming there.
to
Yeah.
Guyana, and 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 all these nice things about oil. Raise the public servant salary by another 25% minimum for 2022. That is what we would be pushing for.
But you know what? And I'm happy that you talked there, MP Sherwin Holder, about this new oil discovery, because we have become numb to it now. We have become numb to it now because we ain't feeling it. We ain't feeling it, right? And it doesn't matter where we discover the oil or how much oil we discover. Guyanese people are not feeling it, and so it becomes just some other thing that is happening someplace else, right? Some other thing
Exactly.
that's happening someplace else. As MP Sherwin Holder says, Exxon announced this morning that it has made two more discoveries offshore Guyana, and they can tell you where and how much oil and all of that. But what does that mean to me, the common man? What does that mean to the common man? It remains elusive. We
Exactly,
belly
Sherrod.
full, but we hungry.
We can start this discussion again, reflecting on the Natural Resource Fund bill. The APNO AFC administration put in place the safeguards to ensure that we protect those monies. We put in place a 22-member commission comprising of persons from the government, comprising of persons from the opposition, comprising of persons from various civil society groups to safeguard this money, to make to manage the funds. And so with the passage of this bill, the illegal passage of this bill a few days ago, the 29th of December, they took that away. What have they replaced it with? They replaced it with a board that will be appointed by the president, that we are yet to hear how these members will be selected. It seems as though the PPP themselves will select whoever they want to put on the board. It's a yes man board that will agree with everything that the government says.
Wickedness,
Another
if you
thing that
ask
they
me.
put in place in
Wickedness,
the
if you ask me.
legislation is the fact that they can now withdraw 100% of those money and do whatever they like with it. And that is why the public needs to understand that is what caused the ruckus in Parliament, because they refuse to, at minimum, send that bill to a special select committee where civil society could have made their input, where all Guyanese could have made the necessary input. They refused to do that. And so we felt as a coalition that we had to stand up for the people. And if standing up for the people and protecting their national patrimony means taking the mace out of Parliament, then I would do it anytime again once that is the case. And I want to expand a little on our plan, what we had in terms of oil and why people were so excited. Now, it was clear that the coalition wanted all Guyanese to benefit from our oil. You would recall, Sherrod, that we had plans to put shore bases in Essequibo and shore bases in Berbice, where we don't have it. Well, I wouldn't say we don't have support, but it is not our traditional support areas where we have a maximum. But we thought it fit to put those facilities in those different counties so that all Guyanese can benefit, whether you support the PPP or you support PNC, AFC, coalition, whatever you support. At the end of the day, the oil belongs to all of us, and no government has the right to deny those resources from any group or any class of Guyanese. And so our coalition will stand up. I commit as the chairman of the PNC to stand up to this PPP administration and to fight them and ensure that they're held accountable, to ensure that the excesses are curbed, ensure that there is transparency within the oil sector and any other sector.
Fantastic, MP Holder. Fantastic. And that's what we got to continue doing. We got to continue fighting for our Guyanese folks. And I'm happy that you've been mentioning the NRF fund, because a lot of Guyanese, MP Holder, believe it or not, those folks who are listening to us, Cycling Earl and Ricardo Rodriguez, Sharon Mercurius, Ian Harry, Shamila Simeon, a lot of people don't understand why we did what we did in National Assembly. They don't understand the gravity of wealth that this country is coming into, and a small cabal of the PPP want to be the only ones whose hands is going to be on that. And we cannot allow that. We cannot.
Yep, definitely, Sharon. Am I on or someone else?
Yes, you're on, MP Holder.
No, definitely, we are the only ones. The coalition that is the only party or group of parties that stand between the PPP and that oil money. We're the only ones that stand between the injustices and the discrimination of the PPP and between the PPP and the people. And so we are the protectors of the people of this country. And we have to continue to stand by their sides. We have to continue to represent them in whatever way. Now, some persons are of the view that, Parliament, there shouldn't be certain activities in Parliament, or we shouldn't blow a whistle in Parliament, or we shouldn't stand up and be disobedient. But, Sharon, I would maintain that the actions we took were necessary given the circumstances, given the disregard that the PPP has shown to the public and civil society, given the fact that the PPP only has one seat majority. They have one seat majority, Sherrod, but they're operating, or they're seeking to operate as though they've won the entire country, all 65 seats in the National Assembly, so that they can do whatever is it that they want to do. We won't have it. We have a constituency that put us into that National Assembly, and it's based on the votes that were allotted to us, it's almost half of this country. And we also have the other half to represent, because it is only the opposition that will represent them. The government is clearly doing whatever they want to do in their own interest and the interest of the rich and a very small group. And so it is the coalition, the Aftung AFC coalition, that stands in the middle and has to be that champion for the people. And we intend to continue to do just that.
Exactly. And we cannot see that kind of ground to these jagabats, because we know the wicked stink and dirty. And folks, that is why, we have been saying that your activism goes beyond social media. Your activism goes beyond just being on the web and you comment. That is important. Is an important part of your political consciousness, your political activism, and all of that. But as we go forward, guys, and you hear that we have protest activity, so we gotta come out, boots on the ground. These guys don't understand anything else. As one of my colleagues said just last evening on the program, brute force and ignorance. That's what these guys understand. Brute force and ignorance. Not so Brian Sokot, not so Cycling Oil and Jane Ann McDonald, Sherwin, Simeon Carter. Not so. This is how these guys understand. That's what they understand. Guyana's son joining us on YouTube. Guyana's son. Not so. MP. We need boots on the ground.
Yeah, certainly, Sarah. We need, if we're to move forward as an oil republic in the right way, the writing is already on the wall. Every Guyanese have got to play their role. Every Guyanese have got to become an activist, whether it's to sound their voice on social media, whether it's in the other forms of the print media, in the newspapers, etc., or if it's physically on the ground, sounding their voices against against what this administration is doing. The writing is already in the wall with regards to the direction where they're going. Guyanese are already numb to these discoveries and this oil wealth, this vast oil wealth. Most Guyanese, if you run a poll now, I'm certain that most Guyanese will tell you that they do not believe that ordinary people will see any benefit, any real benefit from this oil under this PPP administration. So all must
How they can see any
come
benefit and the
together,
thieving out
all
everything?
must play their
Huh?
part.
How they can see any benefit and the thieving out everything is friends and family? Huh? Look at the new tender and procurement commission board. Rather the public procurement commission. It's friends and family through and through, friends and family. Where are the independent people in this country? Where are they? They're supposed to be on these commissions and boards, friends and family, so that they can continue to rig the process to get the benefit for themselves and their cabal, the installed catfish regime. Where is the independence? Friends and family.
I keep saying that PVP doesn't want accountability. They don't
No.
want transparency, but they so often speak about this democracy, and they don't understand that transparency and accountability has or is a pillar in any democracy. And so they only want to talk about democracy with regards to free and fair election. But what happens
There's where it
after free
starts
and
and
fair
stops.
election? Irfan, another point to make is that
Catfish.
Irfan Ali very often about inclusivity and one Guyana. But where
Corridor
is the one
unity.
Guyana? Where is the
Corridor
inclusivity?
unity.
Exactly. And I would keep repeating this. To my mind, all Guyanese or most Guyanese are willing to work together. Most Guyanese are willing to share in whatever resources that the country has. I think they understand that we're all Guyanese, and regardless of race or ethnicity or religious background, At the end of the day, we're all Guyanese, and we have to share this place, Guyana, as our home. We have nowhere else to go, and so they're willing to work together to progress in a way that all benefits. But it's the PPP through their policies and through their actions that create this kind of rift between the two major races and also amongst the Amerindian people. It's the PPP who is dividing us, who is seeking to divide us. I think that they believe that if the nation is more divided, they can benefit from it because they believe that their support base is, well, of course, we all know this, the main support base is Indo-Guyanese. And so if they can create that division by the fact that you might have a little more Indo-Guyanese than the other races, they believe that they can get that 51%. That is the crux of the matter. So they don't care if it's a one-seat majority. They will railroad the parliament, railroad the entire country to get whatever they want, and disregard the other half of the country.
Yep.
That is the
Yep.
of the
Yep. And that brings us to our quote of the day. And it's so relevant. MP Sherwin Holder, chairman of the PNCR, we usually talk about this at the very end of the program now, and then we put out the quote because we believe part of our job here is political education. You said even with a one-seat majority, is that plenty? Right? This nation split right down the middle. Right?
Yep.
Right down the middle. Yep. It is split. One-seat majority. This is what Terasmachus, who was a Greek sophist, a Greek politician, Greek scholar, said many years ago, 380 BC, is a long time ago, centuries ago. Here's what he says. He says, what I say is that just or right means nothing but what it is. Yep, sorry. Let me take it back from the top. What I say is that just or right means nothing but what is to the interest of the stronger party. What is just or right means nothing but what is to the interest of the stronger party. This is writing centuries ago, and it is so relevant. This could have been written yesterday because this is how the PPP understand. It's not what is just and right. It's what is to the interest of the PPP.
Exactly. We have seen over the last year is not what is just or right. They have not even attempted to go down that road of what is just or what is right. It's all about what friends and family of the PPP can get. And we have the evidence of that. If they want to challenge me on that, we can call names. You and I can call names, Sarah. We know it. And the country knows
they got to know why they moved their chairman, their regional chairman. Was it from where you are, Sherwin, in Region 2 there? They got to know why they moved the REO, right? Because it's not about just and right. It was the interest of the stronger party. Yeah, the story stink and dirty, wicked.
Exactly. And I believe that, and I'd go back to the one-seat majority. I was saying two-seat majority, or we were saying two-seat majority before, because we know how the other seat went. But I would pull that back now, because a lot of persons are moving away from the PPP who would have supported them over the last year, supported them during the elections debacle. But now these persons have quickly recognized that the PPP is not the party that they try to portray themselves to be. They are for their own selves and their friends and families and cronies.
Wicked,
they're not interested in developing Guyana in a way that will benefit all Guyanese. And so a lot of persons are pulling away, including Mr. Schumann, with that extra seat in the opposition. And so we've got to come together as Guyanese. We've got to recognize the way in which this PPP government is operating, you got to recognize that they don't have the interest of the entire country at heart, but their own interests. And that is the interest of the PPP alone. They're serving the interest of the PPP alone. And so we must take them to task. We must hold fire to their feet and do everything possible, do everything necessary to ensure that we cut their excesses and we put them out of office as soon as possible, at the earliest opportunity.
Yep. You couldn't put it in any better terms. I love this song at the start. Put them out of office at the shortest possible opportunity. And folks, that is what we gotta continue to do. MP Sherwin Holder, I want to give you the final word. Any thoughts as we go this afternoon? Look to program time for our Guyanese, wherever they are around the world.
Okay, Sherrod. My thoughts are that the year 2022 is now upon us. We're at today is at fourth day, the
Fifth
fifth
day.
day of the year, and Guyanese continue to struggle with a very harsh economy, a very harsh cost of living. We continue to see the PPP disregard for our people, but I want to assure them that the coalition is here to give the kind of support these people to stand up for them and their rights. We will continue to work in their best interest over this year to ensure that the Guyanese people receive, as much as they can during this year. And so I don't want the Guyanese people to lose hope in a united Guyana, lose hope in a country where everyone can live the good life, that good life. It is still on the horizon. It is achievable.
Yes,
it's
it is.
attainable.
Most
And
definitely.
we just have to ensure that we stay focused and continue to work together as a country and as a people in our own, best interest and in interest of our country. And so I want to close by saying that, Sharon.
Fantastic. MP Sherwin Holder, new chairman of the PNCR, the People's National Congress Reform. We got a whole of focus in 2020. We said our and pace and power in 2020. My brother, we wish you nothing but the best in this new office, this new post and portfolio. Nothing but the best. And I know you're going to continue to show good works. Thank you very much, MP Sherwin Holder, for all that you're doing, for spending this time with us as well, and for sharing your thoughts on these myriad issues. Thank you so much. All the best to you and your family,
Thank
MP
you,
Sherwin
Sharon.
Holder, to you and the family for the new year.
Yes, you too, Sharon. And all
Fantastic.
Guyanese.
Thank you very, very much. Folks, the one and only MP Sherwin Holder, chairman of the People's National Congress Reform. That being said, folks, that's our program for today on the Below the Belt podcast, our international podcast. Thanks to you guys. Folks, we see you out there. We see each and every one of you. Bull Page, we see you. we know the trenches when we see them, but we know y'all can answer the trenches in the comments. Alison Corbin, we see you. Pinky Richmond, Gemma George, we see you too. Sean Gibson and Jane Ann McDonald, Tasha Salet, we see you. Ian Harry, we see you too. Jackie Bear, Cecile Ogle, we see you. We see y'all. Folks, we cannot do this without you. Come on board, why don't you, and partner with us. You guys know by now, and those of you who are new to our broadcasting, we are supported totally by our viewers, our listening public, our viewing public. We are an affiliate of the In the Ring program, and so we use their platforms, folks, so that we can keep going and keep doing what we are doing out there for our our midday program, Below the Belt, and also for the In the Ring substantive program in the evening, and to also facilitate the information we put out via our website and all of those channels. We have the Cash App platform available. It's the $ in the ring 592. That's our Cash App handle. The $ in the ring 592 at PayPal. We're in the ring 592 at gmail.com. At PayPal, we're in the ring 592 at gmail.com. We're also available via the local Cash App. It's the MMG system, but we dub it the local Cash App. Our number there is 627-6963. 627-6963. And guys, also at the MoneyGram, we're available. At Western Union, we are available as well. If you guys have any query, you have an information tip, you have a news tip, you got photographs, you got video, you can reach us via WhatsApp. That very MMG number is our WhatsApp number as well, 627-6963. Andrew Cuthbert, we see you. Faith Ferdinand, we see you. Bernadette Duncan, we see you. Merlin Seafort, we see you. Leon English, we there. Cindy Nelly Ninjajit, we see you guys as well. Jackie Baird, we see you. Unfortunately, we don't run on water this end. It takes something to keep the lights on. It takes something to keep the internet on. It takes something to keep our staff motivated. Thanks to you guys out there who keep us going from strength to strength and from grace to grace. Guys, that is our time today. Thanks for joining us. Share the broadcast before you go. We want to see those emojis as well. Lisa Remy, we see you. Yolanda, we see you. Auntie Sandra Hanover, we see you too. Deborah Clark, we there. We good to see you, Deborah. Rameshwar Dhanraj, we see you, Rameshwar. We see your wicked, stink, and dirty comments. We see you, Trenchy. We see you. Folks, that's our program for this evening. See you the next time. Folks, we are privileged. All of you who join us here, we ain't care if you're PPP. We ain't care. We can abuse you, but we ain't care. Come out. We ain't care who's PPP. We ain't care who's WPA. We ain't care who's TUF. All welcome in the ring. All are welcome. No party now. No religion. Straight, gay, lesbian, Jew, gentle, whoever you be, all are welcome in the ring. It's our privilege hosting you guys. We know you can spend your time so many other places. We are tremendously privileged you choose to spend it with us. That's our program, guys. Stay safe. See you tonight, 8 p.m. sharp, in the ring.